Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
And I'm Sema.
And I'm Max. And with only a few days left before 7.0, we decided to team up again with another joint episode and talk about what we've been doing, what we are excited about coming in 7.0, and what we each expect to be doing first. That and more on this episode of the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic, where our broadcast aspect today is EPC 414. But that's not all.
And we are Working Class Nerds.
That's right. We are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, February 10th, 2022, and you can find this mashup podcast on Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and anywhere you can find a podcast in the galaxy far, far away.
All right. Well, welcome, Nick. Welcome, Marcus. This is awesome. We did this once before, about a year ago. I'm glad we got a chance to do it again. So, what have you been up to, Marcus?
Ooh, me first? This is different. It's usually Nick's turn first. I'm so nervous right now.
It's up to you guys.
Or the guest. Yeah.
Yes, like, but like, I'm just nervous. Like, I'm sweating, my armpits. I'm drinking a cold brew. I'm like shaking. Let's see. I took my kids out to dinner today to Cracker Barrel because it has a store and it's the perfect ammunition to get them to behave in the restaurant and eat their supper. Because if you threaten them that, look, you're not getting a toy, they will be there. They will be good. I mean, and it was perfect. And so coming home, running around, gaming wise, I've been playing a lot of Destiny 2 because with the expansion so close for SWTOR, like there's been, I have not raided in months because I'm just waiting for the new R4 anomaly, I think. Mm-hmm. But for me, gaming, and then the last things I've been doing in SWTOR is actually leveling my first range tune through the entire story. I'm almost done with it because I've never played a non-Force user in the game through the entire story.
Interesting.
So I've never experienced Valkorian giving me Force powers as a non-Force user. So that's been really interesting. And actually, so many people like crap all over it, but I don't think they did a really bad job with it yet. You know what I mean? I think for the most part, they did pretty good.
Oh yeah.
But the other thing I can say is I figured out why I love a Marauder. And because I cannot wait for a channeled ability to go off. I need to be smashing buttons at all times in order to keep my momentum in the game. I can't hit number 2 and wait for blazing bolts for 4 seconds. And then I can just, you know what I mean? Or then wait for the next. Yes, it needs to be instant
stuff.
So whenever and whenever anybody picks on me,
Mark just gets so bored. And he like goes off and has to play another game while that channel's going off. It's just so boring.
Yes. Well, it's the reason why usually when I play Marauder, I just put my nose on the keyboard and rub it back and forth and I win,
just do all the abilities.
But I would say, so the other thing is I made my character a cosplay character and I've never done that before. My cosplay character is Kogus.
You're cosplaying as
Kogus?
Yes. So, yep. Kogus flying around the galaxy, hitting on everybody that I have a flirt option for, and being that sassy thing. But then
you get the facial hair
like
going. You got the, you like cosmetically match it to Kogus's goatee and stuff.
No, he's a Sith. I think I did a body type 1 Sith, pure blood Sith, just for the comedy part of it. But it's really funny when we're playing it because when we get to like a light side, dark side choice, we say, what would Kogus do? And all of a sudden he'll pop up in chat and say the complete opposite thing that I said he would say. And most of this time is the dark side choice, which is kill him. And it breaks my heart because I don't know.
Pretty abstract. So it's not a cosplay of Kogus. Yeah. It's a cosplay of Kogus's character.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's been an adventure and it's been a really long time coming for this expansion. So I'm I'm looking forward to all of the things.
All right. Are you? Well, we'll get into that because I heard there were things that you were not looking forward to, but we'll talk
just
about that.
Just a wee.
How about you, Nick? What have you been up to?
So recently I've been up to a whole lot of Halo Infinite. Historically, I am not a Halo person. I've been playing the campaign on stream because I like to do some kind of RPG type story content on stream, and that sort of checks those boxes. But previously I was playing, for reference, Horizon Zero Dawn, and I finished all of that and the DLC, and that was fantastic. So I'm playing the Halo Infinite campaign on stream, which is mostly shooter still, especially as I'm finishing the game. I think my next stream I'll finish the campaign story, but it's essentially a linear shooter with like open world exploration to get like the extra goodies to upgrade your armor and abilities. Like,
but Infinity is their RPG version of Halo, right?
Both. Yeah. There's a campaign and the multiplayer part.
Right. So the campaign is it's definitely much more RPG than past Halos for sure. There's upgradable gearing type things. It's pretty shallow, but it's way more than a standard issue Halo campaign, and it's definitely interesting. But fun fact, I didn't realize the big bad guy is a brute called Escharum, and I thought the voice is super deep and gravelly, and I thought it was in my head. I'm picturing.
Tell me.
Who is it? It's Darren DePaul.
Wow.
Really?
No.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He voices Escharum.
That is so cool.
And it made me really, I was like, wait, I was picturing the voice actor that did Kratos. That's how deep the voice is. So I was like, Kratos from God of War for PS4.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I looked it up and I was like, no way, it's Darren DePaul. That's crazy.
Gosh, that is crazy.
He is.
If you don't know, that's
awesome.
the gentleman who's voice acted many, many, many characters, but
including
most prominently
Valkorion.
on this.
Right.
Yeah, including Valkorion. So it's really cool to realize that, and then also realize, oh my gosh, we met him at
Well, speaking of
the
that,
cantina.
right, when we were in New York and we met him, and I actually asked him, how much do you love voice acting? He said it's his dream come true. He said he waited his whole life, and it stinks that in the latter part of his life, that's when he really took off in voice acting. And he said he doesn't say no to a job now because he loves it so much.
Yeah. I can
That's
totally
really cool.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I mean, he does an amazing job with it. every project that I look through, it's like, oh, he voiced this character and this character and this character.
Yeah, so many in the industry now. Well, I might have to check that out. I have a history with Halo. I worked for Microsoft when the Xbox was being invented. Wow. And I was actually a beta tester for the first time that Halo multiplayer was getting unnetworked and
For Halo 2?
Yeah, for Halo 2.
Wow.
But then I played Halo 1 even before that was released. But I haven't played Infinity War or whatever it's
Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinity War. I haven't played that one yet, so maybe I will have to now, especially because Darren's in it. Sorry, you said you still have more stuff there. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, sure.
So cool.
I just watched the cutscenes on YouTube.
Oh, sweet.
Oh yeah. Listen to that sweet voice acting from Mr. DePaul. But no, I'm enjoying that. So like, I was never a super duper Halo person. My like casual shooter was always Call of Duty. But with this one, I really gave it a chance during the beta and realized, oh, it's not trying to be Call of Duty like my 12-year-old brain thought it was. This is a totally different play style. It's a lot, not tactical per se, but each engagement with somebody is more of a dance instead of just like twitchy turn and shoot like in Call of Duty. Mm-hmm. So I'm enjoying that a lot more. And I've been playing a lot of the multiplayer. I think I have like 65 hours in the game, and
that's crazy.
Probably 10 or 12 of them are on stream. So the rest of it's just multiplayer. But it's awesome.
Here's a connection for you. Bungie, which was the big Microsoft release and was the big Halo thing. Bungie is now owned by Sony.
Right.
Sony just bought Bungie, and Call of Duty is now owned by Microsoft.
Correct.
So it's all it's all twisting around. Everything's going around.
Except that the purchase is not
nothing's final, and it's being investigated by the SEC.
Yeah.
Oh,
but they're gonna get it. Like they can't not let them sell the thing. They can't say no.
Yeah.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bungie was owned by Activision for a while too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has,
and then they just
around.
recently.
Did they?
Yeah, they were just recently. I think they got purchased by Activision, and I looked it up. It was like 2015 or something.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then they recently split with Activision like a year ago, or maybe even less. And then Activision just got bought by Microsoft, obviously. So it was like they just narrowly escaped that, only to be then bought by Sony.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
But anywho, I've been playing a lot of Halo, and I'm looking forward to mostly the story content and the expansion.
Sweet.
That is my sorry. Did you? Sorry, you're getting there later.
Yes, we're jumping ahead.
Sneak preview.
It's very strict.
Yes, listen. My timer says we have 22 minutes and 52 seconds to finish the podcast. We need to go.
Sema, what have you been up to?
So I've been playing a lot of SWTOR this week, so nothing sexy like games that I don't normally play. But I went down this rabbit hole. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to be successful at this, but I went down this rabbit hole of I'm going to log in every character and I'm going to finish all the weeklies they have that are in partial completion.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I know. So if it's a weekly for Dantooine or the swoop races, I can just abandon it because those are not going to happen between now and Tuesday. But I have so many characters that have like 1 of 10 on IOCAF. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to let go of some of those. But I have been running around on IOCAF and Andron and things that I tend to never finish. But still, I've only logged into like a third of my characters, and it's Thursday. So I don't know. I gotta get.
But
well, and I'm also when I'm logging in, I'm also noting which characters have crates, and I'm trying to open all my renown crates because they're going away. And this is in the news, but we're some tacticals too we got to think about, and so that has actually taken up quite a bit of time. Just not only just logging in, but also looking at the quest logs, and then I get distracted because I'm thinking, this one has Belsavis and on top of all that, then I think, I should get this character to 1,000, 100K conquest, right? So then I think, they need 2 on Belsavis and 3 on Corellia and blah 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 blah. So why don't I just knock those out right now? And then it's like nighttime by then. I start in the morning.
That's not trivial.
Right. So we'll see how far I get, but I actually have been having fun with it because I have, as you know, like several heroics that I do, and I don't do any of the others. So I'm happy to do some of the others.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So it's different.
And you will be incented to mix it up in 7.0 as well.
Yes, I will be. Yes, which
it's going to be fun.
Well, we'll talk about 7.0
We'll talk about 7.0
But
soon.
yes, that's what I've been doing. And tonight is normally the night we would do our ops team. So we're doing this instead, which is way more exciting actually. Fun. More, in my case, alcohol laced.
We'll have fun waiting till Malgus takes
Max, what have you been up to?
Yeah, Max. What about you?
Seeing that,
the
details of my life are quite inconsequential.
Listen, I've been waiting 400 episodes to say that because it seems like every week Sema forgets to ask that question. And Max, every episode is like, so Sema, do you want to hear what I've been doing?
I mean, it could be worse. Sema could forget a whole chunk of the intro.
That's because I'm not done yet. But everyone else is ready for me to be done.
Sorry. Oh, I'm jumping ahead as per usual.
Chomping at the bit.
So Max, what's up with you this week?
Oh.
Thank you for asking. I have been slipping in some extra game time for non-Star Wars games in this brief moment before we get to 7.0. Although still, Mandatory Fun Night was awesome on Tuesday. We ran around and did a bunch of that. I have been prepping my characters, but I've been doing that for weeks. I'm not doing crazy things like trying to get renown 999 or what you're doing complete every weekly. What do you have, like 9 Nightmare Pilgrim kills that you need to do this weekend too? Probably.
Right. I'm not going to accomplish that for sure.
Right. I did sneak in, though. There were 2 games that have launched recently. So last week, a game called Zenith The Last City launched, and that's a 100% VR MMORPG. It's from an indie startup. It's sort of just scratching the surface. It's an early release. It's not even a fully complete game. I may even do a video review of it because it is kind of cool, and it gives you a glimpse of putting the headset on and that kind of like metaverse and what gaming could be in the future in full MMO in VR. So that was cool. And then 2 days ago, Lost Ark launched, and Lost Ark's not totally my cup of tea, but I any new cool MMORPG, which Lost Ark kind of pretty much is, although it's action RPG, is still cool. Lost Ark is very much like playing Diablo if Diablo was an MMO. So if you'd wrapped all the MMO things around Diablo, but the gameplay, the action RPG, the isometric view, very Diablo-ish. In fact, I was playing some things in a couple of the early chapters, and I was getting deja vu. I felt like I had done this before, and I was remembering things I had done in Diablo, and it just felt so similar. But I mean, there's a whole bunch more that they do. I'm sure they're differentiated. I don't mean to say that they're not, but yeah. So AIE is doing a bunch of stuff there. Checking our Discord if you want to jump in with the Lost Ark crew. We actually had to do a few different sub guilds because when you start the guild, you only get 30 slots for characters. So we filled up. Whoa. We already filled up like 1 3/4 just for AIE for launch. So you can build up the cap of characters up to 100 over time, but I don't know why they do that. That didn't seem too great an idea to me. But yeah, Star Wars, I do have a little bit of continued prep that I want to do, but I'm only really focusing on sort of like the three of my main characters. I will want to finish up Conquest 1 to 100, 100K, because remember, if you're trying to make sure you get your guild reward when you log in on Tuesday, you have to be up to 100K, even though you got your personal target at 50K this week. So if you want that guild reward on Tuesday, it's just to be at 100K. And then as Sema said, there's still some cleanup that everybody's going to either have to do or just ignore, and then you'll get 100 credits per renown crate or whatever things that you don't clean up that are going away. And we'll talk a little bit about what exactly is going away, because we did get an update on that in the news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So yeah, first up in the news. What is getting removed on Tuesday? The post that went up was a little bit of a surprise. Most of it was what we knew and had expected and had seen and were prepared for. This sort of all of the second half. They had us in the second half. Renown caches, renown trophies, anything to do with renown, that's all going away. All right. So everybody's been prepared for that. We know the renown system is going away. A bunch of boosts, especially any boosts that have to do with renown, are going away. But a couple of the social boosts are going away as well. If you leave any of this,
the social boosts.
What's that?
I hadn't really expected the social boosts.
Yeah, I didn't know if I had missed something, or I didn't know why the social boosts were going away. But they're going away. And then the bigger thing that caused a little bit of consternation, although even when we did our interview with Chris Schmidt, we asked him about this, and he said, yes, there will be some tuning, and some of the tacticals may go away. It's a little late for them to get the final list out to us. So this caused a little consternation in the community, as you might expect. But there is a list here of about a dozen tacticals that will be disappearing as of Tuesday. And a couple of them are popular ones that are like best in slots that people use.
Thank God for 'em.
The reason for this is some of those abilities are becoming part of the style, the combat style. So they kind of don't make sense anymore. And that's the main reason these are going away, is they're not going to like double it up. And if it's already there as part of the combat style now, then it shouldn't be a tactical.
My favorite one on the list is Go to Sleep for Shadows and Assassins.
Yeah, that's sad. Well, because everybody's going to roll a...
But what I've been saying all along is that for sure. I mean, that some are going away, but probably not the ones that you get from events and stuff that are usable at level 10 or level 1.
Right. So take a look at that list. If there's anything in there that you want to do something with, you'll need to do it this week. Otherwise, they'll just be turning into a pittance, a small number of credits. So like a tactical, you could sell for about 6,000 credits. The pro move is to disassemble them this week, because then you have a chance of getting a legendary Ember and tech frags if you still want to cap out tech frags.
Right.
Can we just have a moment of silence for Massacre when Fang God form leaves?
Well, unless it could show up again. They're creating new tacticals and they're bringing in new abilities. It could come back in something else. So it may be back.
Marcus, I just want to point out how nice the actual website looks compared to when it gets copied and pasted into the show notes. See, that's how it's supposed to look like, by the way.
Look at, he's staring at you through the camera. He's glaring. You have to make
looks
sure
could kill. My the walls in my bedroom here would not be red with light. It'd be blood. I'm just kidding. It's a running joke between him and I. Marcus
I'm
just
the worst
copies
copy
and then
and
pastes
paster
and
ever.
leaves all the formatting, so it'll be like black and gold, but it'll be all screwed up just meant for a website.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 3 letters per line, and it'll be our document's now 150 pages long.
Yes. Gotta
Copy.
be careful
you
with
can
that.
right click and click paste without
I
formatting.
don't copy and paste.
Or paste it into Notepad first, and then copy it out of Notepad and paste into where you need to put it.
There you go.
That's
That
an
also
extra
works.
step. Nick's spicy
Two
like a
extra
Vegeta.
keystrokes. So what else is in the news, Sema?
So there is also a problem with, if you happen to have Alder Lake CPU, which is like uber, super, hyper recent Intel CPU chipset.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are also saying in the comments, if you have the most recent AMD Ryzen's chipset also, there's a problem with the launcher, I think it is. So there's some steps for you to follow that are in the SWTOR Dev Tracker. So follow those steps. Basically, I'm like 5 generations behind on the Intel CPU. So this is making me feel like, I need a new computer. But if you're on the bleeding edge, you might have an issue with the launcher. Check out this forum post on SWTOR Dev Tracker to find the steps to make it work.
Cool.
Do you guys still use the launcher, or do you use Steam?
I use Steam.
I use the
Me
launcher.
too.
But Steam uses the launcher.
Yeah,
But it's
Steam
different.
behind the scenes still uses the launcher too.
Yeah.
I have them both installed, and I still use the old launcher.
I mean, I have a feeling that if you had Alder Lake CPU and you were using Steam, you would still have this problem. But I could be wrong.
So yeah, that's good to hear that is fixed. Hey, Gildan community news. Marcus, why don't you take this one?
So the first Friday of every month is Master Mode Flashpoint Night, where Mal or Mei Lung will help you earn some mounts that you can only get through Master Mode Flashpoints. What are Master Mode Flashpoints? It's 4-player instance content that is the hardest difficulty in the game for the Flashpoints. And they do get some tough. It is tough, and you have to do certain ones to be able to earn mounts in the game that you can only get through these flashpoints. So that's the first Friday of every month, and then every single Tuesday is mandatory. Every single Tuesday, is mandatory fun night, where the fun is mandatory,
but attendance is not.
Yeah, BC is the greatest leader to lead us through mandatory fun nights since Apollos. And let me tell you, he does a great job. We do all different types of fun stuff. So it's always a great time. That happens 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is the central time zone for the entire world. That's 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern.
It's the best time zone.
And it's so much fun. So please join us. And then the fourth Saturday of every month. Nick.
The fourth Saturday of every month is my favorite event. Now, before I talk about it, that's kind of a lot of Saturdays.
How many is that?
It's a little tricky to schedule. So it's 4 Saturdays. Do you guys know what that sounds like?
Oh, tell
us, Nick.
So that's Saturday, and it's Mega, the monthly Epic Guild activity, where we'll sell you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Mega.
Sweet.
In this month's Mega, is unknown. So what's the date of the Mega, Nick? What's the fourth Saturday this month?
Oh, the fourth Saturday is Saturday, February 26th.
So Saturday, February 26th, I'm going to I'm going to say it right now. It's going to be whatever benefits everybody the most in 7.0. So right now, we don't actually know what's going to help everybody, whether it's acquire gear or materials, whatever we're going to need the most of in 7.0. That's what we'll be doing. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what that'll be yet, because guess what? 7.0 isn't here yet. So if all this sounds fun to you, go to AIE.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, am I doing it or are you doing it?
Nick.
I was waiting for the throw.
Me?
All right.
Me, go. You go.
If all this sounds fun to you,
go to AIE-guild.org, jump in the Discord, the link for which you can find in the top right-hand corner of the website, and ask for a guild invite. Whether or not you play Star Wars: The Old Republic or any of the other games that we play, we would love to have you.
Hey, Nick, do you got to go to the bathroom?
We're not stopping.
I always do, but it's a different show today. I'll use the Gatorade bottle, okay?
We only have 6 minutes till the podcast is over. We better hurry up.
Just everybody roll down the windows.
We haven't even gotten to the main segment yet. Sema, we do have one other thing though for the guild that we did want to have a shout out to, though, didn't we?
Yeah, so our Wednesday night ops team, which is Sith with Unlimited Power, or SUP, is looking for a full-time DPS character. So if you are looking for an ops team, they meet on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Contact Mei Lung or Albus, or just put just put something in our main Discord saying, "Hey, I want to raid on Tuesday nights," and they'll pick you up.
Just
no
so everybody
necessary.
Yes. And I just want to say that was my first raid team. SUP is the reason why I am in AIE. I heard it on the podcast back when we were on Jedi Covenant, and I was doing garage door trim all those years ago. And Max and Sema were like, "We're on Jedi Covenant, and if you want to try raid, no experience necessary." And I joined the guild that night, and I joined that raid team. And let me tell you, if you have no experience, they're going to take you to Eternity Vault. And after that moment, you are going to fall in love.
You'll be hooked.
And you're going to fall off the cliff. But
yeah,
that's between you and Soa. But if you don't know, you'll find out. Join that team. Albus and Mal are awesome.
Sweet.
I think I was with you when you were doing that garage door trim.
Probably.
Yeah, that was way back when I used to work for the same company that Marcus did.
Wait, nice. That is my company.
Is that Bouchard or was that pre-Bouchard?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well, never mind that.
Hey, shout out to the chat room. Ranch. We've had a bunch of people in there. We restarted the podcast about 3 times to get all of our multi-person intros all coordinated. And if you want to hear that kind of fun, you need to join those usual suspects in the chat room. We really appreciate everybody who's in there helping us level our levels and listening to our shenanigans both before and after the show. So thank you all. And with that, let's get into Legacy of the Sith.
Dun, dun, dun. Power will be yours if you are willing to burn.
If you are willing to burn. Reminds me of Darren DePaul. That's not Darren DePaul's voice, but that was like the Valkorian. You can achieve anything if you are willing to sacrifice. So this is this expansion's key phrase, and it is a good one. But we did have to we've been clarifying for a couple weeks now. It's if you are willing to burn things to like burn the world, burn things down, not set yourself on fire. Just to be clear. So don't think you need to do that.
I mean, I have a feeling that power would be mine, even though I'm not willing to burn.
Well, Sema, you're just like made of power. So yeah, I don't think we could get away from that.
Power.
But yeah, so here we are on the eve of. I've just been calling it 7.0, but I see like everybody on Twitter's Legacy of the Sith. I guess that's its name, but I just call it 7.0. Legacy of the Sith is coming on Tuesday. So just in a few days, or maybe by the time you download this podcast and listen to it, it may be about to be here. And we've been waiting for quite a while, haven't we?
It's Tuesday.
A lot of lead up, a lot of work that they put into it. They've been working on it for over a year, probably about a year and a half now when they first started talking about it. In fact, but way back, I'm sure they've been thinking about it for forever. But yeah, I this Chicago celebration when we were out there. No, New York, the New York Cantina.
New York one.
When we were out there with the devs, they were dropping hints even way back then. Yeah. So glad to see it's finally here. Not everything is coming in the very first day. In fact, this is going to be a long rolling expansion with more stuff that's coming. The operation is not going to come the first day. So that's not coming on Tuesday. That's going to come in 7.1. So it's coming pretty soon, but that's not coming the first day. We will get a flashpoint. We're going to get the story. We're going to get combat styles and loadouts. We're going to get the new gearing system and gear progression. We're going to get 8 new levels. So what we wanted to do here, just on the eve of that expansion, is go around and talk about for each of us what you're most excited for. And then we talked about prep last week, but we'll get to what we each have decided to focus on, like in the next week or two. You know, what are you going to do first? So let's start with what you're most excited about, or I guess in Marcus's case, if you have anything that you're angry about that you wanted to get off your chest.
Well, I think so. For me, I'm going to say, I think the hardest part for me is I was so excited for the December release. And when it got delayed the 9 weeks, it almost was like that balloon that like, like, and so, exactly. Cause even like our nightmare raid team that we were doing, we just killed Kephis, and like the team was on a high, and then we were deflated because we were like, okay, the raid's coming a month after. So we're going to get the raid in January, cause it's coming in December. Let's just take a little siesta and everybody just relax and enjoy it. And then when the new operation comes, we'll go full tilt boogie and we'll start doing all the raiding for story mode stuff for gear. But first and foremost, like, I think SWTOR still holds the Guinness Book of World Record for the most voice acted game ever made. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to the story because I think Malgus got the short end of the stick in the original story because he was such a dominant character in the actual trailers, and you always wanted more of his story. And he was always just the guy that was talking to you if you were on the imp side, through like flashpoints. Like that's the only way you actually saw him. So if you never did a flashpoint through the game, you wouldn't even know who Malgus was.
Right.
Yeah.
And the timer's going off. Podcast is over. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Malgus is up to. Like the last we saw him, he was on what was the O planet?
Awesome.
Was it? No. Onderon. Was that the last one? No. He
went to Dan. He went back to Dantooine.
That's what it was.
For the Jedi Enclave.
Right. Yep. And then you had that crazy Jedi
and he
screaming at you.
Bet you didn't see this coming.
That's her.
Exactly. So that
was cool.
So I'm dying to know, like, what was he after? What is he doing? Because believe it or not, in the original story, his idea of like an inclusive empire, I was kind of down with it. I wasn't actually against him. and so I'm really eager to see what he's up to. But the thing I'm not looking forward to is I'm kind of nervous on the gearing, because now, if I'm not reading it right, you guys correct me, but the only way I can get operations gear is by doing operations. So that basically means every day I'm going to have to do as much story mode rating as possible to get that gear rating. And then we're going to have to start working through every hard mode every week over and over and over again to acquire more gear to be able to get to that gear rating, which will then allow us to get into the harder content. Because if we do a flashpoint, the flashpoint gear doesn't work with the operations gear, even though your gear rating is up, but it's still not the same. But
you can mix and match. So you're kind of right, but you can mix and match. And because the gear ratings are about the same, especially up to the story mode operations gear, why not get, fill half your gear slots with flashpoint gear, fill half your gear points with operations gear, and maybe even a couple PvP pieces in there. The only downside is if you're going to mostly just be doing operations week to week, you can't upgrade the flashpoint pieces with the currency that comes out of the operations. So you may want to switch those out over time, but you're going to get a bunch of side grades dropping off of bosses that you can put in there. And so I don't think, you're right. We're going to have to see. I don't think it's going to be as awkward as it sounds and as limiting as you're thinking it is. I think you're going to be able to just go wherever you want. Because Sorry Saber also in the chat room reminds us there's no set bonuses on the gear. Again, so if you got 2 PvP pieces and 2 flashpoint pieces and a conquest piece and operations pieces, and they're all 326, well, then they're all 326 gear. And there's no sets. There's no set bonuses. You don't have to worry about any of that. So it's cool.
Sounds nice and simplified.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm really nervous about it because, like I said, I think I said it in the pre-show. I'm doing something that I've never really done. It's take a sideline to following the dev tracker for this, because I want to experience. As we all know, I'm always excited for everything, right? And when we got delayed, I said, you know what? From this point forward, I'm not going on the PTS. I'm not doing anything because I don't want to get upset and deflate me even more. I'm going to wait. And I'm just going to, when I log in that first time into the game, whether it's Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to experience it the way it is and be blown away by the experience. Because I don't want to, the hardest thing that I'm trying to swallow right now is when I log in and all of those abilities are gone and the bars are empty. I'm thinking about I'm going to be going to hit a defensive cooldown because it's been keybound for me for 5 years and it's not going to be there. So it's going to be a learning experience.
And I think you're right though. I think if everybody just takes that view of I'm going to roll with it, and this is it's a slightly different, it's a different interpretation, it's an adaptation, and we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna take it where it's going to take us. I think it has the opportunity to take us to interesting places, and once we live it, then I think we'll get a little bit more of a sense of the things that are coming together. Because I have a lot of faith and trust in Chris Schmidt and Matt Pusevich and David Satz and the entire team to put the pieces together that make sense.
And also, when you log in and you see those empty keybinds, it's only going to be for a week.
Right. You're gonna fill them in once you get to 80, and there will be maybe an ability missing or two, but
True.
In theory, those abilities should be missing because you really don't need them, and just play in that new world, and you might never miss them. Maybe.
And, some of them you do have to make a choice, but you can do loadouts, so you can.
Choices matter.
Oh,
well, I'm just Okay, so just saying that, like, I think if you're doing story content, I think it doesn't matter and you don't need it.
Right.
But where I'm concerned is if you're getting into the hard mode or the nightmare operations, have they been able to scale those fights in this time to not have? So if I don't, I'll use Nightmare Kephis. There is a specific path you have to use every single time he drops to the ground as a tank to be able to survive his hits.
Sure.
And if you don't hit those buttons, it's a wipe. So my concern is have they scaled those in a way where either Sema is doing mega healing and in overcompensating for the tanks not having cooldowns, or have they just tuned it down so much to where the hits don't hit as hard? I don't know.
I think that all remains to be seen. And in these kind of situations for people that haven't played a lot of different MMOs, it's you can get into a situation where things are much harder than they used to be, or things are kind of broken and maybe they need to fix and tune things as they go along. But the meta changing of what abilities you hit when and what loadout and what build you have to have and what your stat mix needs to be. The meta changing in an MMO can be a really fun and exciting time. So if you look at even like RTS games, the meta changes over time. They tweak, even like you might think like StarCraft is perfectly balanced. They never have to change it again. They do. But part of the reason that they do is because that brings some interest back to the game, and you need to learn or tweak or invent some new strategies. And the Nightmare Raiders are going to invent the new strategies.
Of course.
The other thing that we're going to get is the gear is not going to stop at 336 or 3. I mean, it's not even going to be to 336 until 7.1, and it's not going to stop there. So if things are really hard for a month, and then you get through 336 gear, and then it starts to loosen up a little bit, and then you're starting to down more bosses, and then you get 340 gear and a couple new, tweaks to the mechanics. There's going to be like a new progression track that's going on too. That might be fun and exciting and different.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what about you? What are you excited about? What are you chomping at the bit for?
Marcus touched on it a little bit already, but I'm a big story guy. So in my streams, that's what I focus on. My favorite style of game is a single player action RPG. Exhibit like Fallout or Skyrim, or I'd say Mass Effect's kind of like that too, or Horizon Zero Dawn, which I just played, or like God of War's kind of like that too. Those genres are my jam. And for me, the piece of Star Wars: Old Republic that fits that is the story content, of course. So I'm not, super into the group content per se, but I'm really looking forward to seeing particularly where Malchus is going and what's happening with that. What are you laughing at?
I just remember one time Nick tried endgame content with us on a mandatory fun night, and we were doing Terror from Beyond. And Max said, Nick, we're going to go into this room and there's going to be these cubes and they shoot lightning. Don't stand in the lightning. Nick stood in the lightning.
Yeah, that was very funny. It was insta death. But no, I think, my favorite character in all of Star Wars, at least my answer that I go to every time we make a guest answer that question at the end of Working Class Nerds, is Darth Bane. So I think a similar character in Star Wars: Old Republic is Malgus, in that they're both like innovative Siths and trying to change the way that the whole Sith culture is and operates, or in the Empire in case of Malgus, obviously. But I'm just interested in the story mainly is the sort of the short answer. But also, for me, I was never like super into the meta of the abilities and things like that because I never needed to be if I'm just focusing on story content. So it's going to be interesting for me to figure out what I have to do once like what I had keybound before is now gone as well. But that'll be a little bit of a quick learning curve, but I'm not super duper concerned about it because I'm not doing end game content like you guys might be, where that becomes super relevant. All I need to know is, can I beat the story boss fight?
What I'm really excited for, Nick, is to watch you on your stream do the new story because I think it's going to be really fun to see, because you're coming in as a uber casual player. Like when you get new story, you play it, and then you take a hiatus because you're a story guy. That's the game. There's a reason why you have 500 hours in Skyrim, right?
Right. It's an endless story.
Exactly.
Right. But
what about you, Sema?
What about me?
What are you excited for?
What about
honestly,
me? Sema's going dark side. I think you can hear it in her voice. That's what she's excited for.
Oh, yes.
I am most excited about switching from looking forward to it to actually doing it. And I know that seems like kind of a non-answer, but we've sort of been on this edge thinking about, how's this going to work? And how am I going to have to do that? And what about gearing? What about this? And what are they getting rid of? And how blah, 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 blah. I'm just looking for the relief of logging in on Tuesday, hopefully Tuesday. And it's already there, and I can just like play.
Yeah.
And discover.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally getting it.
Yes,
here.
I'm excited about the story. I'm curious about how the ops will be tuned now.
Yeah.
I don't really care about gearing, because for weeks we're just going to be doing world stuff out in the world and story mode. So we'll see how the gearing works out. But I'm really super excited about the transition from looking forward to it actually being here.
That's such a great answer. It really is, because we've been talking about it for 3 years. Yeah. Because it was 3 years ago we were in New York, and I remember Keith saying to myself, Max, Zen, Nick, everybody that was there, Kogus, Doc, everybody, Intisar, and he was like, we're excited for Onslaught, but we're really excited for the 10-year anniversary.
And he was so jazzed for at that time. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm. That was a while ago.
Yeah,
I remember him being super, super pumped up about it.
Where do you stand on the story, Sema? Are you? I mean, are you? I'm sure you're so interested to see everything, but how high is that on your list of something you've been waiting for?
I'm not the same fan of Malgus that you are.
Mm-hmm.
I am kind of interested to see what goes on between maybe Satil and Lanier.
Ooh, Aaron
Lanier.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in what Malgus is after.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind
the puzzle.
I wouldn't mind
the mystery.
Defeating / killing Malgus. Like, I don't love him so much that I don't want to do that.
And Zen reminds us every week in the chat room that he is a bad guy, and he is kind of bad. He like enslaved some people and murdered people, and he's not a nice guy, but whatever. He's got some good ideas too. So maybe we need to like take his good ideas and run with them. But he may still need to pay for his crimes. Yeah.
Right.
Sema, did you heal in the PTS at all?
No, not really. We just ran around on this fleet and looked at things.
We ran Elam.
Yeah, that's true.
Elam, and we smelled the musk. We smelled the musk, the Elam musk.
Oh my God.
I make that joke about once every 18 hours, and Sema's, you probably heard her eyes roll just then. So that's why I started laughing before I finished saying it.
Yeah, it's funny. He said it in MFN on This Week, and somebody, not me,
it was
Elliot, actually said that is never gets old.
Yeah. In the most ironic tone of voice ever.
Right.
Zen's like, there's Zen in the chat room. Please stop saying that. Get a good whiff of that Elon Musk, guys.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
that's such a gross word.
Attention, everybody. Dad joke in stream. Beware.
So we did a little bit of stuff. So a little bit of healing, a little bit of DPS, a little bit of tanking, and it was still. We got through Elam. It was still pretty reasonable. Nothing. It was still just story mode Elam, or was it story or vet? It might have been vet mode. We didn't have the droids or.
I think we did vet mode because we had Corley and Lucy with us.
Right. So it was, it was regular, and Sema kept me alive. Maybe I was healing myself. Kept Corley alive. Let's put it that way.
But we didn't try any ops, if that's what you're asking me,
right,
Marcus?
Right.
Oh, I just meant, did you heal at all in it just to get a feeling for it, what it was like?
Like, felt like it was very challenging, and that's I think about halfway through we figured out that somebody maybe didn't have armor on or something, but I did feel like my heals were doing almost nothing.
Wait, are you sure Zen wasn't there?
No, there was also the invisible legs issue.
Oh, I remember that.
And that was the best part.
Yeah,
those were those new special camo pants.
Yeah,
yeah,
see through.
The Harry Potter cloak of invisibility pants. So thanks for asking.
Go ahead. Got us.
Well, at least we're consistent.
I'm going to go the other direction. And while I am excited for everything and for it to finally get here, and story is pretty high on my list, I actually am excited for the gear and the gear progression and having something to go after and work for. And discovering as we go along, like what kind of path you sort of want to take. And if we want to do things like run a couple flashpoints and upgrade a couple pieces of gear that way, and then run an operation sooner, try to go kill Nephra on master mode, see if we can get her down just to get a side grade drop off of Nephra, that kind of thing, that and then like the conquest parts that are part of it as well. What's the best way to get to 100k conquest? Because you need that conquest currency for some of the upgrade paths as well. Managing sort of the new optimal, personal optimal. And I'm not going to be like min-maxing on day one myself even. But that personal optimal path for what I want to do with a couple of my main characters, it's a progression thing that really haven't had in SWTOR in a long time. Most of us have all been at 306 gear for, a long, long time now. Having 5 new levels to go after, and then a gear progression path that's going to even extend beyond 7.0 and 7.1, and there's going to be more gear progression. All right, that's sort of interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Max, not min-maxing, max-maxing. My gear is always max gear.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I like the progression. I like while I'm playing, as I said, I'm playing a little Lost Ark, and the part that I like, that I said I'm not that big a fan of action, the action combat, but the RPG part where there's progression and you're getting the levels and you're leveling up and you're getting new gear and just gear dropping. That's a really fun part of MMOs for me. And I will play any MMO, level it to cap. And I've said this before, even with other MMOs that have launched. What I'm going to do, and I predict it ahead of time. I like WoW Classic. WoW Classic comes out. I'm gonna level to max level, and the day after, I'm going to quit playing. I know it. That's just how it's going to go. But that makes no sense, because that's when you start the gear that you just said you're most interested in. The gear. It depends on which kind of gear progression, and not just the gear progression, just the progression in general. The progression got like an order of magnitude harder once you hit 60 in like WoW Classic. And I won't be going after master mode operations gear coming out of the gate, and probably not before 7.1 or 7.2, not before it comes back down. I won't go after 236 gear or 336 gear or whatever, because I'm not that player. So that's why I will stop when you need to be like hard. You need to get into the hardcore mode. That's when I'll stop. So that's
in a game like WoW. That's when I find the gear grind a little more entertaining, because it affects how you play out in the world.
Right.
In SWTOR, it doesn't. So I like getting a little bit better gear, and then things I do on a daily basis get easier and easier as you get better gear. In SWTOR, that doesn't happen. It happens.
Yeah,
it happens
I think it's gonna. Like heroics and flashpoints and our Thursday night group, it'll matter.
It will. That's right. But it won't matter for anything out in the world.
I think. What about for like weeklies, like heroic weeklies on the planets? I think it will.
That is out in the world.
Yeah. So
that's what I mean by out in the world.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to matter at all to go from.
It doesn't now.
From 320 to 336.
It doesn't now because you go to that planet and your stats are all capped.
Scaling. Yeah, you're right.
The only difference is we get with the 306 gear, we get the 30 stacks of whatever that thing is.
Veteran's Edge.
Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, things did get easier going from 270 to 306.
Did they?
Because of the Veteran's Edge, as you said. Yeah, Veteran's Edge was still a multiplier that for even stuff out in the world. So I don't know. And maybe it won't. But you're right.
I'm looking at my character right now, and she doesn't have Veteran's Edge running around on the guild ship.
Yeah. But you are right. It matters much less for anything except vet and master mode group content. You're right. I mean, and that is a design goal of BioWare. They did that mindfully. And maybe it is a little bit of a flaw. Maybe you're right. Maybe it needs to.
No, I'm not really saying it. I'm not saying it's a flaw. I'm just saying that I care more about the gear grind in games where it matters for the activities I do than I do. And they don't matter for the activities that I do day to day in this game. It only matters for ops, which I do once a week.
Yeah, but maybe if there was at least a little bit of an effect, it might feel good, and it might be a little more incentive, and might make people go after that gear and tweak their builds and things like that, even just a little bit. So we'll see what that feels like. I would want, Elam story mode was a little bit harder than I would want coming out of the gate. And being able to do a little bit of gear progression and make it easier over time, that sounds like a fun process.
I mean, if it does make it easier, yeah.
Right. If it does. All right. What about, and we'll let this go back around on this. So Tuesday comes. Everybody's going to take the week off of work because that's what we do. Expect that the server is going to come up instantly and the patch is going to be available and there's not going to be any glitches and they're not going to have to take it down. There's not going to be any bugs.
And that never happens in gaming. I don't know what you're referring to.
And then what you going to do? What are you going to do first? What are you going to do the first week or the first 2 weeks? What are you going to do first? Marcus, what are you going to do first?
It's such a loaded question because what I want to do first and what I can do first are kind of different, right? Because what I would like to do first is just get right into raiding, but we have 5 levels to get through and do the story. So the first thing I'll do is the story, but I'll really take my time because I feel like the first time you get to see this story is when you can be the most engaged in it. Because once you know it, you half listen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, I don't know so when we load in, is it going to be like, boom, you're to a screen that says, pick your second combat style? Or is it going to be, you load in as normal, but then there's going to be a little ticker at the top that says, click here to create your other combat style. I'm not really sure. So I would say just the excitement of loading it up for the first time and see what's different, because I have seen the pictures from the PTS. It doesn't even look like the same game when you load in.
Right. The character create screen is all brand new.
There are big changes to the UI.
Right. But I would say the story for me, and just in really thinking about what my second combat style will be, like, because obviously I'm going to main a Juggernaut tank and hopefully it's playable. But then the other side of that is if I can make my Marauder the Juggernaut tank, I'm going to love life. If I can make both of those work, and those can be, oh, you can't?
Yeah, no, you can't.
I was agreeing.
Oh, so
you can definitely do that.
Is going to be, that will be really exciting for me, because running as a tank through flashpoints, like when you're just trying to like mow through something, stinks. But if I can have 2 lightsabers,
right?
Oh my God, that's going to, and then I'm actually gearing my tank. That's going to be great. Because correct me if I'm wrong, all the gear is the same.
No. Tank gear is still tank gear. It's got defense and shield and absorb on it. So that will be a little bit of a flaw if you aren't able to set your loot type to tank. Then if you switch over to your Marauder style, you might be getting DPS gear drops.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to keep an eye on that. The currency in completing the weeklies and doing it for the currencies and the weekly reward you could do and spend that to upgrade your tank gear, but the drops will, unless we don't have that anywhere now where we can say, hey, I'm running flashpoints and I want tank gear to be dropping for me right now.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. But so in flashpoints and operations we have that, but we don't have that in. Oh, do we have that in open world anywhere? Like doing heroics?
Loot discipline. I have the choices of all 3 of possible specs.
Oh, so even out in the world?
Yeah.
Where do you even see that? Why do I
right click on the character portrait and then loot discipline?
Right click on character portrait, loot discipline. Oh yeah, so maybe so there you go. So that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You got to. Oh no, it's still going to be a problem for you. It's going to be a problem for you because Marauder doesn't have a tank, advanced class.
Oh, so I won't be able to be a Marauder tank
unless they put like all your loot disciplines for both of your combat styles on there. Because the second combat style is like a second class, right? And when you switch to it, you switch to that second class, and then you get the three builds. You still have the 3 tree choices. So for Marauder, you got your dot spec, your burst spec, and your
Carnage Fury and Annihilation.
Yeah. So you still have your choice between Carnage Fury and Annihilation, and then if you switch to the Guardian combat style, then you've got the DPS and the tank advanced builds specs. If on your Marauder combat style, they don't give you the choice to switch to your loot discipline to be one of your other combat styles disciplines, that will be a problem for you there.
Right.
You can still build it that way. You just have to play with the gear a little bit. And like maybe when you kill the boss, you're gonna have to switch back to tank spec just to make sure you get the drop, the side drops off of the boss on your tank spec. Although you can't switch inside of a flashpoint. See, these are all things that we're gonna have to learn as we go along. This is interesting,
right? And if you take as your second combat style on your Marauder a tank spec, that does not mean that you're going to have 2 lightsabers when you're in your tank spec.
Correct. That's absolutely true. Also, are you clear?
Yeah, but that would be fine.
Yeah. No, okay. It's just switch. You're just turning your character into Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is what I'm going to do with my mercenary. I'm going to do mercenary and Vanguard. Actually, I'm not even going to do power tech. I'm going to do mercenary and Vanguard on my merc, and on my Vanguard, I'm going to do Vanguard and mercenary as my 2
I don't
combat
understand
styles.
what this Vanguard thing is. What is that?
Exactly. Well, you have characters on the Republic side. I know you like to think that you don't, but you do. Come play with us on the Republic side from time to time. Don't tell Zen that. He'll cry. He's trying to turn us into a Republic only guild.
We all know the imp side is the best side. It's honestly, at this point, it's just a running joke, and I have to keep it up.
I know. As we do for all of us. All right,
imp side is the best side, though.
What about you, Nick? What are you going to do? What are you going to do first?
Well, I'll probably be confused since the buttons will be gone and the UI is going to change a lot. And I'll have to remember how to do all the things. And I'll look it up online or call Marcus or both.
He'll be FaceTiming me. Oh my God.
What does this do?
I can't figure this out. I'm going to say you're at the loading screen. I can't just
mash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 anymore. Because there's no buttons there. But figure that out just so I can play things. And then I'm just going to dive into the story, as you could have guessed. But that's basically it. Set myself up so that I don't have to. I can play successfully with the new changes, and then just dive right into the story and enjoy, soak it all in. Like Marcus said, I definitely want to take my time and explore all the things to explore, and not skip any cutscenes and all that good stuff. I'll probably make saves and go back and look at the different branching options too. I like to do that as well.
Yeah,
but
there will be some new characters coming back, and potentially new characters to check out. Maybe some romance options. There's all that kind of thing that will
always gotta go for those.
Well, look at you, man. How can those companions resist you?
Who would have thought that me in this form would ever go for the romancing options in the game?
See, I always thought you would romance Ken Ball.
Why not? Do
them all. I try to romance them all.
Yeah,
I'm an equal opportunity romancer.
Pan-galactic. That's what Nick is. Absolutely.
Pan-galactic. That's perfect.
I think that's good. Are you going to stream it?
I wasn't sure because I was going to stream Horizon Forbidden West because that's coming out at the end of the month too. Mm-hmm. But since Marcus just signed me up, it looks like I'm streaming Star Wars Old Republic for at least a couple streams.
There we go. All right. Well, we can keep an eye on that.
Yes. Stay tuned for details.
How about you, Sema? What are you gonna do first?
A very specific, laser-focused plan.
Ooh.
We know how plans don't survive first contact with the enemy, but go on.
And how good I am at keeping focus. But my plan is I want to level, which I'm going to do via the story. So I'm not going to miss any story. I'm not going to spacebar through anything. But my goal is to level my Merc to 80. That's my first goal, while not hitting Conquest on my Merc. We'll see how. So I'm going to be leveling my Merc, but also I'm going to log into other characters if I need to bleed off a Conquest target that's coming.
Right.
So that's my plan.
But that's fun. That's kind of like a little extra puzzle along the way.
That's my mini game.
I think I'm going to do that regardless as well. I think I want to.
As for combat, I'm more excited right now about loadouts than I am about combat styles, because on my Merc, I feel like what's going to make my gameplay change the most is if I can easily switch between healing and DPS.
Right.
And then if I learn to DPS. And by learn to DPS, I mean learn my key binds and the muscle memory for the rotation and all that stuff. That'll be a big enough change for me. And then I guess my combat style is probably going to be, I don't know.
Then I'm going to be out of a job.
Operative or something.
That's going to be a sad day, because then Sema's going to be the healer and the DPS, and I'm just going to have to go cry myself to sleep on my huge pillow.
Or you could become a healer.
All right, I can become a healer.
Okay, so can we actually you know what? You know how we do the PvP night in Mega sometimes, and when everybody tries to kill Max? I think we need to have one where we do a story mode raid where Max is healing. A 16-man operation. We can have the other healers there to carry him, but I think Max needs to heal.
We actually had a podcast episode a long time ago where I taught him how to heal.
Yeah, we did. in past MMOs, I did significant amounts of time as a progression healer in like top tier content. So I have been a healer in past lives, but not in a long time. Not in a long,
galaxy
long
far
time.
away.
I think so. There's two things I wanted to follow up on there, Sema, because they were good reminders. One came out of the chat room, which is spoilers. Turn general chat off. That's a really good idea, especially on the fleet. The trolls there will love to just spoil it, and they'll, Malgus kills Dumbledore. That's going to show up immediately. You got to watch for that kind of thing. The other thing is, as Sema said, why Sema was saying she's going to try not to hit personal conquest target on the character she's leveling, her main that she's leveling through the story. We talked about
until
last
I hit
week
80.
before, until you hit 80, right? Because you don't get the 200 accommodations of medallions of accommodation or whatever the conquest currency is until you're level 80 and hit personal conquest. So if you hit personal conquest before level 80, you don't get that currency. Oh, wait, but no, didn't somebody say that they changed that?
Changed what?
That you would still get it now.
Yeah, I don't know.
We should follow up because Zam tracked this down. This was in her prep notes, and that's where we first got this. I think there might have been some change in the past couple weeks where it was clarified, where they may still give you that currency between 75 and 80 if you hit your personal target.
Oh, gotcha.
Which would be nice because that's what we're all trying to work around. We want
which means with my plan, I'll get that currency on my characters that are not my merc.
But it's legacy currency. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
That's okay. Because you want that 200 because that 200 will get you a full set of 320 gear. The Conquest 320 baseline gear off the vendor once you hit Conquest and are level 80. And you need to be level 80 first.
But in any event, that is my plan. And like you said, no plan survives contact with the enemy. So if by Tuesday or Wednesday, something else seems like a better plan, I totally am going to switch to that.
Yeah.
For me.
Forster just dropped something and which we did a whole podcast about this. I forgot. Galactic Season. I wish they wouldn't start Galactic Season 2 on Tuesday.
Right. So that actually, I did say that last week too. So like I am going to ignore Galactic Season 2 if I can.
Right.
Like sometimes I can't. I say I'm going to, and then I just can't. But that's I don't want to be split in that first week or two. And Medulla, who's another guildie and is very informed on all things according to the game, he said it's going to be hard to level to 80 without hitting Conquest because it's a substantially more points to level those 5 levels than it has been in the past to level 5 levels. So
he said it's serious business to level up to 80.
It's my goal, but I may not make it.
Yeah, we may not even make it in the first week.
Yeah.
Oh,
but that's okay.
I'm just letting you all know I'm going to make it all the way through Galactic Seasons 2 on Tuesday or Wednesday. When I sign in the first time and it shows and it pops up, I'm going to click, and I'm going to be done. I'll have all the rewards and I'll be done.
You'll have your Cad Bane companion and you'll be ready to go.
Yep. And
this is the way.
And I will not make the mistake, and I'll actually get to buy the stronghold that I wanted to purchase, which was the imp side one, but I didn't see it in the list, and I bought the pub side one through Galactic Seasons 2, but you can't return it. It's not like Amazon where you click return and they print you a label. You make that choice. Yeah, and trust me, Intisar, Lauren, everybody has busted my butt for a year. About it. So I'm excited for that. And then what I'm really excited for is all of those extra currency items, like what I have left after the 2 seasons, because it's going to be really interesting for me. Do I want to spend them on something else or do I want to save them for the next season? Because
you'll have 6 left. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So, is that because it was 3? You have 3 left from each
9.
season.
Did you get like 8? No, wait.
I can't remember how many
15.
I have.
We got 15 and it takes 8 to buy the stronghold. So you'll spend 16 out of 30. You'll have 14 left.
Right. So I'm hoping that there's enough stuff to where maybe and that's going to be a long question for me is, do I spend it on that other cool stuff that they have available for you to buy?
Good question.
Or in Galactic Seasons 3, is there going to be something awesome and they come out and say, look, if you saved your coins, Galactic Seasons 3, you can get this. And most people may not have that. So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting for me.
So Forster, we need to look into that. That would be a problem. So Forster says they cap at 15. The problem with that is Marcus currently has 7. So if he logs in with 7 and gets another 15, because he completes the Galactic Season all in one blast, does that mean he's going to lose 7 of his tokens? So would he need to spend those 7 now or exceed the cap when you might need to look into that, Marcus. If there's a cap of 15, then you need to spend 7 or you're going to lose them when you do the buyout on day 1.
Okay. So I am terrible with this. If anybody goes on the forums, please make a forum post and ask this question, because I will say I'm going to do it, but I definitely will not do it.
Okay.
So if you go on the forums, please, somebody ask that exact question, because that is, I buy my way to the end right away.
But I get what Forster's saying is you don't have to, if you buy your way to the end, you don't have to click on all the things and claim all the things right away, right? Did you have to do that when you bought it the first time? Did you click on all of the things and say, give them all to me? So just don't click on the ones. Don't click on the days that give you the token. But we should ask that question. That is a really good question that came out of this. They should up that limit to 30. 30. Yeah, because look at Lisa Late Bloomer. She's saying she still has all 15. Yeah. So be careful. Don't click on any of the rewards. But even if you're doing it the slow way, by the end of the first week, you could have a coin waiting there for you, a token waiting there for you. And if you click it because you already have 15 from the first season and you lose it, that would suck. That's a good call out. That is something to follow up on. And something else that was awesome about this first season of it is I pay to the end, but pay the cartel coins, get what I get back, and it was done, right? Then Max did I'm logging in every single day. I'm doing it, and I want to earn it as fast as possible without flying. And then Sema was like, I'll get there when I get there. And we all got there and in our different paths. And I think for the most part, we were all happy about it in the end. Yeah, I didn't claw my own eyes out, even though I thought I might by the end. And Sema kind of did it the best way, I think, of all of us, just playing the game and letting it come.
I think there's a lot to be said for getting it over with and not having to worry about it.
Kind of.
Also, yeah.
Well, for me, it's mostly that I don't. Oh, this is going to sound super. I don't know. I don't like to be told what I have to do.
You can't tell me what to do, man.
Exactly.
What do you mean in game? You didn't have to qualify that. I want to do what I want to do. Like, I don't want to be forced to do something that I don't want to do. So if I have raid night and I log in and I do my raid, but then I have to go do 5 heroics, I'm going to feel like it's now a job. And I don't ever want to feel that in any video game.
Yeah.
Right.
And for that reason, so now we're down to me. I'll bring us home here. What am I going to do first? Thanks for asking. I may ignore Galactic Seasons the first week. It's just because I want to focus on learning all of the new ropes, wallowing in the 7.0 world and feeling what it's like. And I will probably just start with the story. So I'll start with my mercenary. I will log in and I will just start with the story. I'm not even going to set up my second combat style right away. I'll probably just do story. As Sema said, I probably will try to keep track of the 100K, maybe get some clarifications over the weekend, check Zamzam's posts on that, but try to level up to 80. Try to get through the story, then try to level up to 80 without hitting Conquest, and then seeing where things land, and then adjusting that strategy if it's not possible. If there's no way to level up to 80 without hitting 100K Conquest, just because you need to kill so much stuff that might end up that way, then figuring out what else I will do. Over the first couple weeks, I'm depending on how that goes and depending on where things stand, I'll probably get into the gear then. So if I can get to 80 and I can start the quest for the legendary implants, because you got to talk to that guy and you got to get the 100 points for him to unlock the vendor for the legendary implants. Then the gear grind, I might do a little GSF so that I can get a piece or two of gear that way. I might be trying to get a group together to do some Master Mode flashpoints so that I can get a couple pieces that way. So I may be like out there like pretty heavily doing all the things and seeing what it's like to get gear from all the paths. I'm kind of looking forward to that. And then like feeling out what's feeling the best and how I'm going to mix and match and turn that puzzle into a full set of 326 over the course of the next week or two and see where that lands.
I don't know, Max, you don't seem like the type to let yourself not do it in the first week and be on time.
The Galactic Season part, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I feel like you're going to log in and you're going to see it up there and you're going to say, I got to get it done.
So here's the saving grace with Galactic Season 2, which may smooth it out and may make this work. Galactic Season 2, the daily stuff is a little bit smaller and easier to get done and less important. So maybe if I can squeeze in the daily things each day and not make it disruptive to the rest of the stuff I want to do, I may do that. The weekly things are much bigger. But by the end of the first week, I may be looking to complete some of those weeklies because I'm trying to get 100K conquest points on multiple characters by that point.
Right.
I mean, this is making a lot of assumptions, but I might be going after those kinds of weeklies across my legacy, because you could do, if you get personal conquest on 5 characters, you'll cap your currency for the week because you have a weekly limit on that currency as well. But you have to cap 5 characters to their personal conquest before you'll cap that currency for the week. But still, doing 100K, so doing 500K is not trivial, and getting a few a handful of weeklies done that count for Galactic Seasons as well, that may all come together. Yeah, that's a good point. And then if I get into a groove on that, then I may end up just doing it every day, like you said. But there's a lot going on. We'll see. There's a lot going on. Lot going on in Star Wars. A lot going on. Well, Book of Boba Fett's over. I haven't watched the last episode, so I don't know. Maybe this is where I'm gonna live, and it won't feel like a lot.
Max, don't worry. Darth Malgus comes. He survives, and he shows up in the Book of Boba Fett. Don't worry.
Exactly.
He gets frozen. He gets frozen for 3,000 years, and then they defrost him again, and then he's there. That would be incredible to see like Malgus come in season 3 of The Mandalorian. To have Malgus show up,
and everyone's just confused.
Crazy.
Who is this guy?
Is that Vader without?
He'd be more badass than the guy who was the bad guy for Mandalorian, the Moff
Gideon.
Oh, what was his name? Gideon. Yeah.
Yeah, Gideon was right.
Psychologically cool.
Yeah, no,
cool.
I liked him, but I just think
the actor's really good. But yeah, he's not. I mean, he'd be more terrifying than any antagonist in the last 3 Star Wars movies.
That's very true.
But yeah.
But I will say, last night, myself, Nick's dad, and another friend of ours, Gronkin, in chat, we all watched it together, and like we had snacks, we got popcorn, there was wings. It was like we made it a party. Yeah, and we all got together about 8:30 at night, and I went home at 11. But like we watched the show because the show's like an hour or so, but. We made it like an event, and it was so much fun. To do
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. Like before it, you're like kind of like tinfoil hatting what's going to happen. And then afterwards you're breaking it down. It was the thing that I can say about Boba Fett more than the Mandalorian or any of the other show. It brought me back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm not spoiling anything, but episode 2 was still my favorite episode out of all of them. Because that one felt the most Star Wars to me.
To Boba Fett?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 of Boba Fett. The stuff with the Sand People in particular, I loved. Okay. And I kind of wished that it was just that. And it was just 7 episodes of that. That was just some amazing things. And okay, we're gonna have to do. Now we're way off the track. We're gonna wrap it up for tonight, but we're gonna have to do a postmortem on Book of Boba Fett because once we get past the spoiler period, we'll get a few weeks out. I would love to break it down and talk about that whole series.
I have one more question for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
And you guys it's a simple yes or no. Does the game release broken on Tuesday?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we taking bets?
I'm not betting against that. Also you got to define.
I would do a gentleman's bet, which is 1 credit.
1 credit. I will go with. Okay, so to be bold, I will go with flawless launch of 7.0.
Whoa!
Wow.
Like a standard amount of downtime. So whatever they'll bring it down for a couple hours or whatever. And then a flawless launch. No like 7.0.b having to come up on Wednesday or anything with that. I will take that bet. So I expect 3 credits by the end of the week.
I will mail them too.
I mean, let's clarify. So if there's if loadouts aren't working exactly the way they anticipated them, but they're not going to fix them until a dot release, that would still be a flawless.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be bugs. I would definitely expect there's bugs, but if they have to bring down the servers or the servers are crashing or any of that kind of stuff, then I lose my 1 credit.
Okay. I don't think the servers are going to crash. I think they might be a little bit late coming up. Like if they say it's going to be 8 hours, maybe it's going to be 10 hours, but I agree with you. I think they've got that part down.
Wow. I guess I'm the Debbie Downer over here because I think they're changing so many fundamental things about the game. I think day one is going to be like the server's going to come online and they're going to have an emergency pull it down and it's going to be ping ponging back and forth. That is just because I remember sometimes they do just a regular game update and it messes up everything and they have to take the server down quick. This is, and listen, I don't do game development. I build cabinets for a living and I can't even imagine that they change, they change the hairstyle on a mercenary and it messes up the launcher. I don't even understand that spaghetti code.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we'll have to see. And yes, I mean, realistically, that certainly could happen. And we, tongue in cheek, we were saying, "Oh yeah, prepare, take the day off of work." As ironic as we could be, because you should never take the day off of work on patch day for a new release, because it could very well be a train wreck. That the odds aren't that bad on that. I'm just being optimistic. Maybe hope. Rebellions are built on hope, so I hope that it's going to go off flawlessly. All right, that was spectacular. We're all very excited. I can't wait for Tuesday. but I think we can wrap it up for today. We didn't go too long, about an hour and a half here. This is not terrible. So
perfect.
Not bad. So I'll wrap it up with my part. You guys can wrap it up with your part, and then we'll play the music out. So for podcast links, you can follow me on Twitter for SWTOR Escape Podcast at Max the Gray, and that's Sema and I. That's where we put the feed out. And if you know anybody that should be playing with us, tell them to come check us out on newoverlords.com. That's where everything is going to continue to get posted, including all the links to all of the feeds. And certainly come find our guild at aie-guild.org. Our guild Discord is in the upper right, and you can get there to get an invite on Starforge to either the Republic or the Imperial side. Remember, Central Time Zone is the best time zone for everything that we plan. So you can see all the events like Mandatory Fun Night and Mega and that kind of thing. And
that was the weakest Mega ever.
I know.
He was like, hey, everybody, let's join the Mega.
No,
Mega.
It's going to be Mega.
Thank you, Nick.
Where we'll sell you the whole sea, but you'll only need the edge.
So speaking of
Mega,
that, where can we find you guys, and what should we be following, liking, and subscribing to?
Well, you can go to workingclassnerds.com or just type in Working Class Nerds anywhere in the galaxy that you find your podcast. You can also find me on Twitch. I am twitch.tv/NickVern51. That's NickVern51. Marcus, where can people find you?
And I stream on Twitch at MarcusB814 Tuesdays, Saturdays, and Sunday nights. And check out Working Class Nerds.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys.
And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later.